Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Got Game, where we play test board and card games and let you guys decide whether or not they're interesting enough to get published. Today's game is a game called Convert by a designer named Ian Reed, and it's from Yodio Games, actually. Not a company I've heard of yet, but you know what? They came out with a pretty good game. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Why don't we check it out? Okay, before I get started explaining the rules, I just want to talk about the components really quick. The board, super nice, very thick, varnish is great, and the felt on the bottom, great. Corners are shaved. I mean, it's fantastic. Nice, solid board. Pieces as well, nice, big, thick pieces. They will last a long time, and I really appreciate that. Okay, so continuing on. The game is simply a game of Connect 4, okay? You're trying to get 4 either white spaces or 4 black spaces in a row, not diagonally, to get points. So in this case, simply putting this piece down gets me 1, 2, 3, 4. And yes, you can use the spaces on the board to help you progress and get those points. And so as you're playing, you know, white always goes first, and then black will go, and he'll place his piece, and then white will try to play another piece and try to get more points, and so on. Probably a better move to do something like that. And black will just move around and try to get points as well. It's possible to get more than 1 point in a turn. Like in this case, black has 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, meaning that he'll get 2 points that turn. And yeah, you can basically save points for later. So in this case, if black didn't even do that, if black simply put, like, you know, this piece down, he can still get the 1 point. And so you can kind of like save a row for later, as long as the opponent doesn't destroy your chances at connecting the 4. And what I really like about this game is that as the game progresses, I'm not going to be able to play a whole one here, you'll see it later on in the video. As the game progresses, it'll build up and become harder and harder to put down pieces. Like this one, I mean, white has no chance of putting this down anywhere, just because it's so big. So kind of a strategic move that you're going to want to pay attention to is to put the bigger pieces down first. It's kind of like Blockus in that respect. So finally, at the end of the game, once people have placed all their pieces down, let's just kind of give an example really quick, as such, okay? Then you're going to literally look at the top of the board at the end of the game, and the end of the game comes about when both players can't put any more pieces down, either because they put all of their pieces down, or simply because large pieces like this can no longer be placed on the board. And then you're just going to look from top-down view as you have this whole game, and you just kind of count the number of black and white spaces on top. So in this case, white would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points, which would actually leave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 as well for black. And then they would go to this point marker here, and they would add themselves the points at the end. Now, you get a point for every row of 4 during the game, but at the end of the game you get for every space on the board. Let me just talk about this scoreboard really quick, okay? There's 2 of these, and it's nice. I like the quality of the board itself. It's a nice solid cardboard, but there's 2 of them, and I don't really see the point, because you can't possibly have more than 2 players, and it's not like they're sitting very far from each other to reach the scoreboard. And they both have their little score markers here that simply start on 1 and move forward. And the last thing is that it only reaches up to 20 points. Now, I'm kind of confused. Not necessary to have 2 of these boards. I would much more prefer to have a board that's much larger. I mean, if they're trying to fit it in the same square texture, like they did with the rules here, they have a nice, you know, square feel of that as well. They could have simply just, let's clear all of this. They could have simply put an extra row or so. I mean, if you're trying to fit in the box, you got at least another row in here that they could have put. And the games that I've played, every single game, someone's always gone over 20 points. So they kind of need that extra row. I haven't seen anyone going over 25, so maybe 25 would be best. But in this case, the up to 20 is not sufficient. So nix 1 board, make 1 board bigger. Pieces, I mean, they're fine. Little score markers, that's great. No complaints there. Just simply the score pad's not big enough. And once you've added up all the points, whoever has the most points wins. Just one last thing I'd like to add about this is I really enjoy the rules. Nice, clear, concise, and no real complaints there. A couple of lines that are unnecessary, but finally, the best part that I like is the explanation on the back of how to put the board back together when you're trying to put it back in the box. Very nice, very easy to understand. Appreciate that a lot. Kudos. All right, so Convert. What are your initial thoughts there, Mike?
I actually really enjoyed it as a game. I thought it was very well done, very simple. I was a big fan, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a big fan. He can't seem to stop holding on to the pieces too.
Have pieces.
Yeah, he likes the feel of them a lot. You know what? I'm gonna have to say I'm not a huge abstract fan. Okay, unlike Mike, he really likes to. It doesn't matter. Theme doesn't matter to him. It matters more to me. Things like that. But I really like the fact that it's a nice filler. Like a filler abstract game. So you can do it, just within a few minutes, while you're waiting for your buddies, or even do a couple of rounds, things like that. And maybe you can total up like all of the points from all 3 rounds and then see who wins, something like that.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't take as long as something like Blockus or Chess or something like that, which would take quite a bit more time. Definitely a filler game, a lot of fun though.
Yeah, I mean, and you can pick up on the strategies pretty quickly within, I don't know, like 2 games, as long as you put down the bigger pieces as soon as you can and find really creative ways to cover the other guy's pieces. It's quite nice, actually. Yeah. I like it a lot. And the fact that the pieces, like you said earlier, pieces are nice and thick and sturdy. The board is fantastic. The fact that it's like, it'll never break. Packaging, a little difficult, but they do have this really cool, on the back of their rules, they've explained how to put it all back together so you can put it in the box nicely, which is really nice instead of having this kind of Rubik's Cube puzzle type thing to figure out. But is there anything you didn't like about it, Mike?
I think it's just because it's a prototype right now. The shaving on these little blocks isn't quite perfect, 100% matched up to the board, but really I think they're going to fix that. That's just beta version type stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing putting maybe some more blocks, maybe offering a multiplayer version or something like that would be fun. But to be honest, no, there's nothing really that I didn't like about it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say I did find something I didn't like about it, which is the size of the board. It's a 4x4, and that's nice, and the pieces start to tower up, and that's great. Personally, I would like to see one of 2 things happen, if not both, which is make the board a 5x5, and I know that sounds really simple and doesn't change the game a whole lot, but it would, because you have so many more spaces to work with, and if they probably even took maybe 1.5 times as many pieces, or made just different shapes of pieces and things like that. And we actually mentioned something earlier too about making them purely cubed. Because if you notice the piece, let's just show these pieces real quick. When they match up, it's not exactly a cube per se. They're kind of, it's maybe like a 1 inch or 1.5 inch by
3/4.
3/4 of an inch. Yeah. So they're obviously off kilter for a reason, and it's fine in the game that they made. It works well. But if they had made it purely cubed, the game could work so much better personally, just because of the fact that you can fit them in different ways. Because you're not allowed to have gaps underneath the pieces and such. There you go. So that's really the only thing I can see it being a problem. Mike, what was that thing you were talking about that you were saying to make it multiplayer?
Oh, so one of the thoughts I actually had is if you made the board bigger and then you just simply put dots or a line of a certain color, you could make this a 4-player game just by having, blue versus green. So it's still black, the bottom pieces still are the same, but now you have a 4-person game and it's a bit more of a party game, a bit larger, things like that. And again, and that's just because of the person I am. Sometimes I'm in the mood for just a 2-player puzzle type thinking game, and sometimes I do enjoy party games that I can play with my wife and her friends and things like that.
Right, exactly. When you just want when there's 4 people at the table and you want a light filler game, and the game is super easy to explain. You put the blocks on top of each other and you try to. It's like, what do they say? It's Tetris meets Connect 4, which is, and if you think both of those aren't very hard games, so mixing the 2 concepts together isn't really that big of a deal. So, great. Okay, so here's, again, our questionable statement of the day. Does Convert got game?
Yes. I say 100% it's got game. If it came out, I would buy it.
Good. I'm going to say it's got game.
I wouldn't buy it just because it's me. That's totally preference.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a 50-50 split here. But if you like abstract games, if you need a light filler game, something that you can easily explain to the kids that'll teach them strategy, it's Got Game.
Yeah.
Great. All right, guys. Well, that's Convert for you. Hope you enjoyed it. That hopefully you like abstract games, and that was the kind for you. Let us know by commenting below if you guys like the game or not, and if you'd like to see more. If you have a special type of game you'd like to see, maybe a theme of some sort, let us know. We'll put it on. Find a game for you to put on the show. Also, don't forget to like us, and don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget that up here you can watch the extended version of the gameplay for the game Convert. All right? Thanks, guys. See you next time. Awkward ending. Still going. Yeah, I'm gonna